Welcome everybody to Den Excelsior episode 131. The X-Men saga continues this week as Dennis and I
Hello
talk about the Wolverine and other stuff.
Yes, we're definitely going to be. It's another one of those double features. We'll be doing the latest episode of X-Men 97 and the Wolverine. But we decided, due to the severe awesomeness of that episode of the cartoon that we've been watching for 4 weeks now, we're going to save that to the end because it's too great. And our beloved guest that we have this week also agrees with that strategy. So you want to bring him out, Ricky?
Let's bring out Joel.
Hello, what's up?
What's up? Welcome back.
It's fun doing this. I really love doing this.
What was your last show? It's been a minute.
Wow, it has been a minute. Work has been crazy. So, wow.
Have you been on since you've become a zaddy?
No, I have not.
I think he has not.
I have not. No,
I don't think you have. Yeah, I don't think you've been on the show since you've been.
Just real quick, I have to give a shout out to my daughter. Her birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday, Olivia.
So you haven't been on the show for a year?
I know it's been a year. Can you
made a human since we last saw you?
I mean, we see you like roughly.
Yeah, roughly every week.
Roughly weekly.
Yeah.
But wow, I didn't realize it's been that long. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, you had that baby right after the crunch, huh? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was like crunch, then baby. Then baby, no sleep, baby, hair pull out, got a bald spot. And then now when things that's
your life forever.
What's a little different. Once they grow up, it becomes a little bit more like not easier. The frustration changes. The frustration becomes more of like, oh my gosh, she's gonna stick a fork in lightning.
Legal social contract ends in 17 years.
So, exactly. Yeah. 18 years. In 17 years, 11 months.
You're down one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Well, we're happy you could steal away for an hour to like nerd out with us, and I'm sure you miss doing that. Like I'm sure you find time to do it. Yeah, but
not really, not as much. She doesn't really. She's not into that. I'm trying. I'm waking up at least every Saturday. I wake up early with her and watch straight cartoons. Just straight cartoons till like about 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. We wake up like around 6 and we watch from 6 to like 8 or 9 straight cartoons. Like just cartoons. Like
is it like classics or is it new stuff?
Oh, classics. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Those Looney Tunes with the disclaimer classics.
I need your top 5 cartoons that you're indoctrinating your daughter with.
Shockingly, like Ricky said, the old Looney Tunes is definitely and don't get me wrong. Now I watch them, like I've been rewatching them, and I see a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, okay. Now, before, when I was a kid, I was just like, okay, this is funny, this is great, but now I'm just like, is this appropriate?
Really hated women back then as a society.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was like when we saw it when we were kids, you didn't even think of it like, oh, there's something wrong with this. Now, me knowing the context to everything, like honestly, because I'm watching Looney Tunes, and I get it. She's not.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Well, not.
Technical difficulties.
I can't.
We're cutting out here. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, hear me now?
We can.
What's the last thing?
Your audio is a little delayed. Every time you say, "Can you hear me now?" your mouth moves.
Warner Brothers
can you hear me
in as
now?
they heard you bringing up the past.
All right.
Does it work now? Is it good?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
You're about caught up. Do us a favor because I don't know what part we lost. What's your top 5 or
Top 5.
Looney Tunes?
Looney Tunes definitely is like number 1. I've been trying to get her into like Asian like manga. So I've been like, when I was a kid, one of the first cartoons I ever saw was Mazinga Z. So
Okay.
I've been trying to get her to watch Mazinga Z.
That
I
big
actually
old robot.
started. Yeah, I actually started having her watch Galaxy Rangers, Thundercats, and the old Thundercats, not the new Thundercats. And I do a lot of Disney cartoons, just like the old Disney cartoons, like Mulan. Like right now, Mulan, Princess and the Frog is like her favorites, and Lion King. It's like her favorites. Those are the ones you see their eyes like, ah.
That's cool.
So I try to, I like, no offense to any of the younger audience, anything like that, but I can't get into the new Disney stuff. I can't. I'm an old head, so I want to introduce my child to the old stuff first. Then when she gets to of age, she could pick her whatever she wants.
But when she picks her stuff, you got to try to get into that too.
Yeah.
You're
into like a solid 2 years of Bluey here coming up.
When she's 6, I'm over it. That's what you're saying.
You know what? I can honestly say it's weird now because watching things like Sesame Street now is way different than it was when we grew up. Because like right now, they show Bert and Ernie like every 3 episodes. They're not on every episode. Yeah. Big Bird. Oh my God! If you see Big Bird, it's impressed. It's impressive. Yeah. It's like Big Bird is on there like once a week. Like Snuffy, you don't see Snuffleupagus at all. He's done. He's gone. Like Oscar was on one I saw today, but I hadn't seen him for like a week.
I honestly couldn't tell you that I was keeping track of their frequency back when I was a kid. So,
well, that's the thing. At least Bert and Ernie, for me, Bert and Ernie, Cookie Monster, Grover, like
they got writers now, so they're kind of expensive.
They were they were people that you saw enough to actually, for me as a kid, to remember their names. So for me,
Abby Cadabby.
All right, fair enough.
Cadabby. Oh, Abby. Yeah, the fairy. Yeah. She's one of the new ones. Which I like her, but it like to me, I'm just like, she's not part of the crew I grew up in. And so that's the weird part.
So I'm just curious before we move on. Like, so outside of the parental like nerdy stuff you've been doing, is there any nerdy stuff you do for yourself? Like, that you just you get away and you like binge something or whatever?
I just like binge something. Like, honestly, the hard part is binging anything. When you become a new parent, the hard part is either binging something or sleeping. And because you don't get a lot of time to do either. And a lot of times I will force myself to binge something. Like, honestly, like Invincible. Like, I will watch that dead. Like, I will wait. You could bury me in the ground. I will figure out a way to dig myself up to watch Invincible. Invincible is, in my mind, the best damn TV show I've seen ever. That is in my top 5 best TV shows ever made. Invincible. I will fight somebody if they tell me different. That show is so freaking good.
I guess we're gonna fight because I got X-Men I got X-Men 97 way above Invincible.
Oh no, I see, and that's the thing. The X-Men 97, it's way better than the old X-Men that we used to watch.
Yeah,
but you know why Invincible for me is, it's a father-son story. And I love the aspect of you break down, you tear with everything. It's just a father that is in love with his son.
That so story much. Goes places
not in love, but
and they deal
not in love, but loves his son so much.
Yeah. We talked about Invincible here. I mean, I do enjoy that show for the complex emotions that they play with, and it's not. I mean, everyone operates like in a gray zone, right? And
yes.
And that's where the fun comes in, because you pair that with some really talented voice casting that you can kind of tell. I feel like they give a shit with what they're,
Yes.
Oh no, they all care. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
really do love Invincible.
You know.
Just to be clear, like I do think the second season got a little boring for me, a little bit.
It slowed down, but it slowed down for a reason. It had to show the human side of everything, which, believe it or not, in a city where it's nothing but superheroes, or the superheroes are the stars, the humans are the boring part. But Mark is trying to be so much not like his father that he's trying to be more human. This is why that one episode where Omni-Man was like, "You are stronger than you think you are, but you don't believe it. You need to believe it. And if you don't believe it, you're going to die."
Yeah.
And he said that when he was basically getting his ass whooped. It's like, it was one of those things where you're just sitting there going like, yeah. And even in that fight, he didn't believe it.
For me,
God, it's so good.
For me, Invincible, I do enjoy the Man of Steel, and I do like the ending of that movie when he breaks Zod's neck. And Invincible for me feels like a show full of that.
Yes, believe it or not, yes. They try to make Man of Steel human, which, believe it or not, me and Travis, we had this argument many times where I was like, Superman is the big thing about Superman is not Superman trying to being the strongest person on the planet. Is him trying to be Clark Kent, knowing he's the strongest person on the planet. Clark Kent is not his alter identity. Well, Clark Kent is his alter identity, but he's trying to be more Clark Kent than he is Superman. He has to be Superman. He's trying really hard to be Clark Kent. The thing is that, and that's his problem with himself. And
yeah,
that
but some could argue that the reason he's trying to do it is because if he doesn't do it, then he'll just see everybody as pets rather than people.
Well, yeah, what was it? The Last Son of Krypton? I think it was the Last Son of Krypton. That's what they talked about. What was the one where he got raised by a Russian family? They talked about that. Yeah, they talked about that, where he was like, they're your pets. Wait, no, it wasn't that one. It was not Infinity. Is it Infinity War? Well, Flashpoint. Where, because that's why they had him trapped underneath in that cage where he had where they had the sun.
No sun.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, if he was out there, we would be his pets. And that's why they did it. They talked about that. And it's like, I love the aspect of, that's one of the reasons why I think Superman is Superman now, because he is way more complex because of that.
We let Joel get off on a Superman rant again.
Oh no!
He must be back on this show.
We can loop it back, because the spotlight today is kind of about a hero kind of disowning a mantle, but really realizing at the end that he has to embrace it.
That's fair enough. Enough. I see it. Are we not going to do the news, Ricky?
I say we just get in the spotlight and see where we end. There's some news, not some great news.
Okay. All right. We're doing it. We're flipping it up. All right.
So we got The Wolverine, came out 2013, directed by James Mangold.
2013. This movie came out after Avengers Age of Ultron, right?
No, just Avengers. Ultron's 15.
Oh, sorry. Avengers is 12. Sorry, Avengers is 12. Yes, you're right. Correct. This movie, I have been so excited to rewatch this one because, and I'll tell you why. I think one, like, you guys, I want to give a preface to everything, to everybody watching and you guys here too. Like, I'm not the biggest Wolverine fan. I'm not like, I didn't read like every X-Men comic growing up ever. Like, there's a lot. I have giant gaps in Chris Claremont X-Men. I've read a lot of Chris Claremont X-Men, mostly the stuff when Jim Lee was drawing it and stuff, but like the relaunch, the X-Men #1, like with all that stuff. But I somehow have osmosis a lot of Wolverine lore, and so like, and I think it's because I used to collect the trading cards, I used to play the video games, all this stuff. So like, I always knew, like, you know, when they were making these movies, that we were missing a big chunk of Wolverine's story, which is he spent a lot of time in Japan. And so I was really excited that when we got a second chance at a Wolverine solo movie, that they're like, all right, this one's going to be in Japan.
Mhm.
Now, I was a little weirded out that it took place. They decided that the story takes place after the X-Men Last Stand, right? They decided it's kind of like a, like, it's still in the same universe as that crappy movie that we were hating on a few weeks ago, because
Origins.
it no, not Origins, X-Men Last Stand, the one with the Phoenix.
Oh,
That
jeez! Don't
movie,
even mention that movie in front of me.
you know, honestly, we watched Origins, X-Men Origins a few weeks ago. That movie's way better than X-Men Last Stand.
Yes,
Like,
everything's better than Last Stand.
yeah, Last Stand
Seriously.
is terrible, and so it was kind of weird for me to be reminded. I forgot Famke Jensen was in the Wolverine.
Yeah,
I
so did
forgot
I.
that too. She
but
kind of just popped up.
she pops up, but you know what? I'm gonna say it. Like, she pops up a lot. She's kind of like a ghost in his head or whatever. You know, like he's
Mhm.
talking to a dead Jean Grey throughout the movie, and I actually really liked her performance more in this movie than in any of the previous X-Men movies. Like,
Mhm.
I liked her character, even though she wasn't a real person. You know, but
Mhm.
yeah, this movie sees uh this movie is, I'm gonna go really quick so that you guys can talk more about it. But Wolverine, we find out, spent time in Japan back in unfortunately during the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and he saved a man from the nuclear blast by putting him in this dungeon that he was in, and shielding him from the blast. And then they stayed down there until Wolverine could tell it was time, it was safe to come out. And you know, years later, you know, here we are, and this man is reaching out to Logan because he wants to see him as a dying wish. And so we get to see a little bit of time, you know, Logan hanging out in Japan back in the day, but then a lot of it is contemporary, and I'm okay with that. And I'm just kind of curious, like, if you guys want to talk about your highs, your lows, like what hit wrong, what hit right, and, like, I don't know, what's your knowledge base as far as Wolverine and Japanese stuff? Because for me, not knowing every single detail made this movie super fun for me, because I was
Mhm.
allowing it to be its own thing, you know.
So I'm kind of with you. I only dabbled in the Japanese Wolverine stuff. So coming into it new and getting everything that we got, I thought it was cool as shit that we get Wolverine in Japan on his own, and they contextually where he's at in that X-Men story and where he's at in that world. It makes sense why he's alone, why he would just kind of, begrudgingly go do it. But I think they do a nice job of making this really self-contained Wolverine uh story where it does for to me it felt very personal to him. And just the fact also they kind of this one, I feel like the violence is like dialed up just a few more clicks than what it was or what we had gotten previously up to that point, because Origins was a little Origins I feel like was Fast and the Furious, where this feels more not John Wick, but more in the John Wick direction
Yeah.
of
Well, you meant
more
yeah,
gruesome and visceral.
you mentioned it was James Mangold. He's also the one who directed Logan.
Mhm.
So like, I feel like this was like the training wheels movie for Logan, right? Because they were testing out a lot of the same ideas and same kind of violence and stuff like that. Like, even the idea of Wolverine going for a large chunk of that movie without his power, to his healing factor, right? Like, and also not wanting to pop the claws. I feel like watching that and then knowing that we're gonna get Logan and it's like the same idea all over again. It's kind of funny.
Wait, did they announce Logan before this movie or
No.
This
No.
by the time this one had come out, they've already announced that Days of Future Past was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, Days of Future Past was first, then
No, this is before Days.
No,
of
I'm talking about this one. This is first, then Days of Future Past, then Logan, right?
Then Apocalypse.
Yeah, there's 2 X-Men movies before Logan, I think.
Then Logan.
Then Deadpool.
Yeah.
Then Deadpool.
I think Deadpool came.
Or did Deadpool come?
Deadpool came out
before the Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix, right?
Yeah, Deadpool is after Apocalypse. Because
before Logan?
Deadpool, yes, because Deadpool 2 comes out after Logan.
So
okay.
So well, I don't know if I'm going ahead of the pacing of the show or whatnot, but the ending credit scene where Magneto said
that's supposed
something
to be a tease for Days of Future Past.
Oh, okay, that was okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't 100% sure.
They filmed that on the set of Days of Future Past. That teaser scene. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure because in Days of Future Past, Wolverine's a lot older. Until
they've never X-Men movies have never been great at their mid-credit scenes. So
like that, or the Professor X being alive again,
which they never explain.
They did like briefly at the end of Last Stand. He transfers his consciousness into a vegetable body that's on Muir Island, but I don't know how it turns into Patrick Stewart all over.
So I
just interpreted that he's making everyone think that he looks like him.
Yeah, I guess. But also, like, he's in a wheelchair again.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
If he find the right body.
If he's making himself look like, if he's making everybody think he looks like Patrick Stewart, then A, he's still walking. B, there was 2 McAvoy movies before the Logan movie, and the McAvoy movies, he doesn't look anything like. But
we know this. We know he doesn't look anything.
Yeah, but I'm saying that Wolverine still saw him there in a chair. Wolverine saw him in the past, and then when he gets old,
Joel,
Wolverine still sees.
Are you trying to say there's continuity issues in the X-Men universe?
Yes, there's a lot of continuity issues.
I think we've touched on that a few times.
I mean, how many guys in an X chair are there? Like,
yeah.
You know what cracks me up about that chair every time it shows up? Like, did we talk about that already on the show? That the lawyer, like Patrick Stewart's lawyer, actually bought that chair after the first movie filmed at an auction. He won it at an auction, and then I guess the studio didn't know they were going to need it again, and so he rented it out to the studio for X2 for way more than what they paid to make it the first time around. I just think that's so funny. I don't know at what point they stop renting it from Patrick Stewart's attorney and just make a brand new one, but every time I see it, I wonder how much that cost them to have that stupid chair in the movie.
We're having technical difficulties because you guys are frozen.
Oh,
you guys are
frozen for us. There we go. We're back in sync.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Okay, moving on.
Hey,
let's go back to like Joel. What's your knowledge level of Wolverine in Japan?
Believe it or not, my knowledge of Wolverine in Japan is not that much. I think I'm close to you in knowledge base, Dennis, because I only knew of the stuff my friend Sean. He showed me the Jim Lee cover. I think the one where Wolverine's fighting a bunch of ninjas on the cover.
That is a pretty generic thing to say, but yes.
But that was the only one, and then that's when he introduced me to Silver Samurai, and I was just like, oh, okay. And I honestly hadn't known much after that, other than stuff I've seen in like cartoons and here and there, reading in the comic books or hearing it online, hearing about Silver Samurai online.
Gotcha.
I didn't know that much. With this movie, when I saw it, I was just like, oh, it makes sense because Wolverine is a ronin. You know what I'm saying? Man without honor, or a man without a master.
That's true. Without a master, yeah.
Yeah, and he basically is wandering the world, just saving people, doing things. Like, that's relatively the Ronin aspect of it. It'd make way sense for him to be in Japan. That was the only thing I didn't quite understand. Again, school me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, ninjas was a Chinese thing, and samurai were Japanese. That's what I thought it was.
No, ninjas are also Japanese, but ninjas are.
I didn't know that.
Ninjas are hired assassins, actually.
Yeah, but I thought they were from a Chinese culture, not Japanese.
No, that's just because they use Chinese stars. Everybody thinks that. That's.
Okay.
I'm kidding. That's racist. I'm kidding. That's because all kids growing up in the 80s called them Chinese stars, but they are not. They are not.
The shuriken.
Yes, those are Japanese. Yeah. They are Japanese.
Okay,
Ninja
I did not know ninjas were Japanese.
Are both Japanese. Yes,
I did not know that. I didn't know ninjas were part of the Japanese culture.
You could argue that a samurai was modeled to fight with honor, and a ninja was designed to fight with whatever means necessary to get the job done.
Okay, straight up guerrilla warfare type of thing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I did not know, because when I was watching the movie, I was just like, wait a minute, why are they ninjas?
You thought they were being racist.
I had that question too. Like, I could not. The ninja guy, totally have no idea who that is, or he's like a good guy but not a bad guy. His ninjas.
He made no sense to me.
With the arrows.
Well, also, he made no sense to me because he didn't have. You couldn't. It was hard to root for that guy because you're sitting there going like, "Oh, is he a good guy? Okay."
The love interest, the other love interest of Mariko, correct, is what you're talking about.
Yes.
The guy with the.
She was at some point in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't give me a lot of good vibes, right? Like he wasn't really selling the boyfriend material stuff, especially when you find out he's teaming up with Yoshida to capture her. Yeah. Well, I don't know that she's a Nazi in this movie, but she's definitely
Viper and Madam Hydra are one and the same.
Viper is another name for one of the people that have been Madam Hydra.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but I thought it was really funny because, in the comics, yes, Wolverine often tangles with ninjas. Mostly, they're the hand. But I have seen him fight a lot of ninjas in black too. So I'm not sure if they were hand ninjas, just rocking a different color, or if they were just a different group of ninjas. I know he fights the Yakuza. He fights the hand. And he also sometimes fights Hydra, and in some cases, Hydra and the Hand are joint. They're doing joint collaborations and stuff like that. So for me, it just felt like, okay, this movie is checking some boxes that we have not gotten to see in previous Wolverine stories.
Wolverine in Japan, all right, ninjas, check. Probably Silver Samurai, check. Right, you gotta hit some boxes.
They're checking a lot of boxes. Yes, Yukio is apparently a character that Frank Miller drew when Chris Claremont was writing it, and which I think is funny though, because there's a fun trivia fact that the way they worded it on IMDb I really like. It's in the comics, Silver Samurai is a mutant, and Viper and Yukio are not, but in the movie, we totally swap it around. I'm not sure why Silver Samurai couldn't be a mutant.
What is his mutation?
He does tachyon fields, and he also has a teleportation ring and stuff like that. He basically not magically. He charges his swords with an energy, but it's not Gambit stuff. Not Gambit.
That's why his
Gambit
sword,
different color.
Well, that's why when he made his sword out of adamantium, and once he charged it, it was stronger than adamantium, and that's why Wolverine was worried that
There you go.
he can cut his adamantium.
Yeah, because it's adamantium plus.
Yeah.
I mean, his
Yeah.
adamantium doesn't do shit in this movie though. Against
You
a
know
lot of
what?
swords.
I just found this out today. I because like I was thinking about it this morning, so I looked it up. Like you had adamantium and vibranium in the same world. What's the difference between adamantium and vibranium? Why isn't Wolverine using one, not the other?
I was always under the assumption that Wolverine or the Captain America shield was also adamantium. Or
No,
vice
it's
versa.
vibranium.
But like in the comics.
In the comics, it was a hybrid. It was
It was a hybrid of vibranium
it was both.
adamantium.
It was both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But so what I found out today is that vibranium, there are two different types of vibranium. One that is a hybrid vibranium that is man-made, and then there's a natural vibranium, and a natural vibranium is toxic to Wolverine. If you put it inside your body, it's toxic. So Wolverine would be basically constantly dying. Like his body would basically.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Or are you talking about carbonadium?
No, I think that's what the other one is.
Carbonadium is the material that Omega Red's tentacles are made of. And
which is the hybrid.
These MacGuffin metals.
Well, they're better than unobtainium.
Unobtainium's dumb in like the best way though.
But like carbonadium sounds like a real thing, you know what I mean? Like it's carbonadium, like
unobtainium.
No, obtain is like the weird part, you know, like anyways, we're getting way out of control here. The point is like what Ricky was saying, like yes, the fun part for me was like they said here are a lot of things that we need to check off boxes. If we don't know how many more Wolverine movies we're gonna do, let's get all this stuff checked off, and then let's have fun with it. Let's just have fun. Yes. And dude,
Bullet Train.
The Bullet Train.
It's fun. It's cool.
God.
It's cool shit.
That is the cool. I was laughing out loud the other day when I watched that.
That part is so fun. They made a whole goddamn movie on that premise.
Yes. Yeah. That scene is fantastic, and I had forgotten it for all these years because I haven't seen that movie in so long.
The only problem I had with the movie relatively is I felt like the pacing was off. I really felt like the pacing, maybe because he didn't have his powers like for most of the movie. I just kept on seeing him do a lot of reckless things like you would expect him to do, but then he would get hurt. I actually had to watch it twice because honestly, I feel like I missed.
Why are there balloons on your screen?
I'm not, as you can see, I ain't touching anything. Why is there balloons on my screen?
I
don't know.
That's amazing.
But the thing I didn't understand is,
did you say the word of the day?
No, it was. I felt like the pacing was a little off because things just started happening and it just kept on going. With the fact that he did not have his powers, he did a lot of reckless things that you would think Wolverine would do, but when he did it, you're just sitting there going like, well, he doesn't have his powers. He should be dead. He doesn't have his powers.
But I feel like it made his action and made his choices more deliberate. And he felt everything he did fighting wise very heavy and slow. It wasn't, it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't flashy because the train scene wasn't flashy, but there was a real gravitas when he was moving and around and doing.
So just to explain what you're talking about, like, so at one point in the movie while he's sleeping, Viper shows up in his room and makes out with him and puts something in his mouth, and it's like some sort of bug thing that suppresses his mutant ability. According to her. I interpreted it as like it didn't neutralize his ability, but it suppressed it. You know what I mean? So like,
But this is the thing, though. This is the one thing I honestly got felt they should have added into the movie to help people understand that. Because this is the reason I had to watch it twice, because I was just like, okay, I get it now, but there should be no reason why I should watch it twice to get it. That when she kissed him, she put something in it. Because
he started acting like sickly right after that.
But the thing is that we understood she had some kind of venom in her, or some kind of she's a mutant that has some
I didn't know she's going around spitting bugs in people's mouths. Yes, for sure.
The thing is you didn't know she did that. So if they at least like just ask the question, how did this happen when they were scanning him? You'd have been like, oh, okay, at least they are confused by this, and then they would have seen maybe she did like a slight monologue when they're fighting, when they were fighting at the end, like something that wouldn't have changed anything. It wouldn't change anything that they originally did. It would have just helped the audience understand that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was just like, that's a little far-fetched. And you asking a lot from the audience to think of something when they don't understand the mutant power of that girl yet.
I think they were using her pretty liberally to just get things, whatever needed to happen.
She was like the bad guy fixer.
She was kind of the MacGuffin person of like the MacGuffin maker of that show.
Yes.
She would just do whatever needed to be done at any given point in the movie. And I will say, like, I didn't mind that, I guess, because we talked about, I was just having so much fun with the movie. But I did have I do remember talking with Ricky the other day. You were mentioning it. You had pacing issues with it too, and it's the middle part that slows down. For me, I actually didn't mind. I actually really enjoyed the middle part of the movie, because the first time I ever watched it, I was like cranky. I was like, I hate when Wolverine doesn't have his powers. He would wreck these fools right now if he did. But rewatching it this time around, I'm like, I just saw so many movies where Wolverine just survives everything all the time. It was kind of nice. It was kind of nice to have the stakes raised for Wolverine for at least part of the movie. So it was kind of a bummer when he took the bug out for me, because then it's like,
he had to. Come on.
I know he has to, but then for me, that's when the movie kind of gets silly. Like it turns into that third act silliness of like CG battles and like crazy stuff. But I still like that the stakes were a little raised, because Silver Samurai chopped his claws off, and that was fun for me. Like, I appreciated that. What were you gonna say?
I have one other problem. I wished he killed more ninjas. I wanted to see him do way more damage to the ninjas, because
there is an R-rated cut, and
he kills a lot of you.
There is an R-rated director's cut on Blu-ray. I've watched it before. I own it, but I didn't watch it this week. But it's a lot bloodier, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That was also something I'm like. This is why I think Logan is so awesome, because
at the time though, this movie was like,
you felt like Ricky said, this was definitely more.
We're not talking about Logan.
No. I'm just using it as a comparison, and like Ricky said, this seems like this was leaning closer to like the John Wick version of Wolverine, and I was like, yeah, if we're putting on that scale, Logan is the John Wick version. I wish they used blood, just a little bit.
I thought there was a pretty cool amount of blood though still in the movie,
like when he stabbed so PG-13,
because it is PG-13.
Yeah, it felt it.
But I mean, he did cut himself open and rip a thing out of his heart. He did. I love the blood on the train when he stabbed that guy through the door. That was pretty cool looking.
Well, these are things they had to explain. But the thing is that when you have Wolverine running through people, just hacking people up, like at the funeral, I was sitting there, I was just like, oh, there should be blood there. Oh, there should definitely.
And there is in the director's cut.
Well, and I didn't know there was a director's cut.
Yeah,
I honestly, God, did not know.
They're not putting that on Disney Plus. You got to pay.
Which I don't understand. Why would they not do that? Why would they not put that for? They have a rated R version of Disney Plus, which is called Fox.
It'll come sooner or later.
Yeah.
It's all together now.
But Ricky has something he wants to get out.
Well, I was going to say we should director cut this conversation.
All right. Well, I got one more thing before we move on to X-Men 97 because I know you want to go. I know you want to go there. But I will say, like, I was pretty forgiving of this movie for, like, just because of how much fun I was having from the very beginning. Like, watching Wolverine survive a nuclear bomb was like it. I just nerded out so hard that I forgave everything in this movie. and I honestly, I kind of forgave, like, at some point I realized there was something important missing for storytelling purposes. They never told you in this movie that Wolverine has memory issues. Like, they never actually mentioned that. And so, like, I was kind of confused. I was like, wait, does he remember his time in Japan? But on the rewatch, I watched scenes just to kind of check and double check. Yeah, he doesn't actually seem to know who Yoshida is. But then he goes to Japan, and then when he's he finds the cemented over, like, hole where he used to be in a dungeon, and then he has a memory. And I was like, I guess that kind of is like all the other X-Men movies where he sees something that he remembers and then he remembers it. You know,
yeah, but then that just adds that one question: why is he there if he doesn't remember him?
I know, right? That's weird. But like you said, he's a ronin, right? He's aimless. He has nowhere to go. But it did on realizing, like, he's remembering this past and stuff, like, it did bring up, like, a weird thought I had. Okay, they show you he has that memory where one day he looks up, he sniffs, and he says, okay, we can leave now, you know, and then Yoshida gives him his sword as a reward for protecting him and stuff and keeping him safe. I'm like, okay, I know you guys probably checked out a little bit of Fallout on Amazon Prime. Like,
I haven't watched any of it yet. I want to so bad. I just
not really spoilers. 200 years went by, still radiated outside, right? So I'm just saying, what the hell were they eating? And I think I know the answer. Were they eating Logan the whole time?
People.
Were they carving off bits of Logan and eating him until it was safe?
I felt like it was only like a week. The bombs that were dropped were nowhere near the strength,
the potency. Yeah, they weren't. But
they were still undermine what happened. But
they were still nuclear bombs.
Yes.
I don't think the radiation.
So
you're
saying they didn't eat
atomic. It could have been atomic, but
you cannot eat for a week.
You can, you can eat. You can go without food for up to 40 days. You can go without up to water without water for 7 days.
In my headcanon, they were filleting him. They were filleting Wolverine. That's what's going on in my headcanon. We can move on. We can move on. I'm just letting you know.
I just saying. I still don't get the essence of, if the memory loss is there, why would he have gone?
Why would you go? Yeah. But
I appreciate the Renaissance we're on, because I feel for the past year or so, you tend to be a little cynical on some of these movies. And you.
Yeah,
so
but
I like this retrospective where you come back at these things and the was it fun? Was it cool?
But I like the Wolverine in theaters also, though. Okay. Like, this one's my special one that I've always held close to my heart, even if it is a little cheesy and dumb. Like, I just love that opening scene so much that I'll never talk crap about the Wolverine, even if he fights a giant robot silver samurai at the end. And whatever, it's fine. But why don't we switch gears like Ricky wanted to do a few minutes ago? And let's talk about the most badass episode of X-Men 97. Spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't watched it. Oh my God, if you haven't watched that,
wow.
Leave now, go watch it, cry your face off, and then come back and watch these last 10 minutes or 15 minutes of our show.
Yeah,
Joel.
I watched that movie. I watched that show like around 10 o'clock last night after I had like 4 people call me and go like, have you seen X-Men 97 yet? And I was just like, no, not yet. I've been so busy all day. I've had so much stuff to do because my daughter's birthday is tomorrow. So I've been doing a bunch of things, just trying to get everything ready for that. And finally, like around 10 o'clock last night, like 9:30, a friend from work who knows I am a huge Gambit fan. He calls me. He was like, have you seen X-Men 97? I was like, not yet. He was like, call me back after you watch it.
Yeah, I know.
And that's what he said.
Dude,
I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
I watched. Then I watched it. I was just like literally every time I watched X-Men 97. I've been like, I watch it because I've been trying my hardest to not do like I've been doing the last couple of years with streaming shows. Is watch 5 minutes, pick up my phone, do something on my phone, watch for 5 minutes, pick up my phone. I've been trying my hardest not to do that anymore. So with this one, I was watching it and I was like, okay, they're doing the normal stuff. And then they get to fucking Genosha. I was just like,
yeah, I know. You know the craziest part? Like my wife and I, we watch X-Men 97 for breakfast on Wednesday when it comes out. Like this is our breakfast show, right? And we're digging the
awesome.
We're digging the show. We're like in the episode. We're like in all the juiciness with like Cyclops and Jean. I was really happy. Shout out to Brian because he wasn't sure a few weeks ago if we were going to get more of the drama between what's marriage like now for Scott and Jean after the clone, and then we get that reporter like getting all the candid shots of the X-Men just being bummers around. I'm like, their cameraman is amazing, like. There's a lot of fun little things going on. Then Jean makes out with Wolverine. You're like, and I'm telling you, man, as a kid who grew up watching X-Men 97, you always wanted that to happen, but you always knew Fox was never going to do it. And when I saw Jean kiss Wolverine, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is nuts, and then we go to Genosha and Nightcrawler's greeting everybody. We're having fun. We're having the big meeting in the, with all the cool like Hellfire people and stuff. And then my wife, her ADHD kicks in and she gets up and walks away. And she walks away right after Cable like came and said goodbye to his mom, right? Right after that, she gets up and walks away. I don't know. Maybe she just forgot that she was focused on the show, or maybe she just like her spidey sense was tingling and she needed to get away because it was too much. But she left the room and Magneto and Gambit died. And I was like, what? I was like screaming. I was like, oh, what are you doing? Why'd you leave? And she's like, what? Did cool stuff happen? And so I rewound 5 minutes so that she could rewatch those like in 5 minutes. The craziest shit ever put to screen on an X-Men cartoon happened, and that was nuts. Oh my god!
Well, let me ask you, Joel. I've asked everyone that's been on here so far. Is this the same show as the original?
No. No, it is because the same characters are on there. It is because it is roughly the same animation style.
It continues their story, though.
It continues the story, but I feel like the story grew up with the viewers. It ain't the story I was watching when I was a kid.
Especially after this episode. I mean, it's
yes.
That's why I feel like it is the same show. It's just not. It's not. It's the problem. Excuse me. It's still for the same audience that the old show was, and that's what I'm
saying. You wouldn't show this to a kid.
No, in fact, I said that in Slack. I was like, "Do not watch that with your kids. Don't do it."
Like honestly, I don't know how I would feel when I was a kid watching last night's episode. If I watched last night's episode, if I was a kid,
you would have cried your face off.
I would have been like, "What the all kinds?"
Hey man, that means new toys are coming out of. Part
I have a Gambit toy and a Magneto toy, and they're worthless now. No, I'm kidding.
The funny, like in this is definitely a Rogue episode, a Gambit episode, a Magneto episode. Those three were like the stars of the show. And honestly, as much as I liked Rogue before, I love Rogue in this episode. As much as because honestly, it showed so much emotion from her, and not only did it show so much emotion from her, Jesus Christ, I thought she was going to wreck shop until Gambit threw that motorcycle into her. And then when Gambit threw the motorcycle into her, I was just like,
and as a reminder, she dumped Gambit only like minutes before all that happened, right?
Yeah.
That guy, that sacrifice he made was like top tier
simp.
Top tier heroic simp sacrifice. Yeah.
It's heroic simp sacrifice.
Oh my God.
Rewinding to Rogue real quick. Do they show in the original show, or is it is there a scene in the original show where she takes her powers from Miss Marvel?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, did they show that? That happened, but did they show it in a cartoon?
Yep, they did.
I don't remember. I don't remember it showing her.
But she
absolutely does.
She can have that power and then suck up other people's as well.
Well, she can suck up any power.
The problem. So it was a whole thing in the 90s, or sorry, the 80s and 90s, is that because she was Brotherhood back in the day and stuff. Yep. So she did a bad thing, and so she sucked Miss Marvel's powers, or Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call her, so far that she put her in a coma, and because of that, it appeared that her powers were permanent.
Stayed longer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They didn't seem to go away. Like normally when Rogue takes powers, they go away, but she doesn't normally put people in comas. You know what I mean? So so they've in the comics they basically fridged Miss Marvel for a few years. So because it's X-Men's cooler.
Miss Marvel sales never were good.
So, and in all honesty, I was kind of like, I was with you. I was like, she's gonna wreck this Wild Sentinel up, and I was I was thinking to myself, like, she might be able to take it, but on the counter argument, Magneto got wrecked. So was
that big Sentinel? Was that Master Mold?
No, that was a Wild Sentinel. It's just a weird abomination thing that in the comics so that's the crazy part. Like this show is, we've talked about that before. This show is great at taking all the craziest, best scenes and moments from the comics and mashing them together. In the comics, Genosha does get wrecked by two giant Wild Sentinels that look like that, and it's because of this villain named Cassandra Nova that is actually going to be in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. She gets Donald Trask, who is Boulevard Trask's son, to use his DNA to sequence these things and blah blah blah. She just wants to kill millions of
she's Bizarro Professor X.
Yes, pretty much.
They showed Master Mold in the last episode, right?
Yeah, Master Mold shows up every now and then. He was in the first episode for sure too.
Okay,
but that was not Master Mold. This is a weird new
and the destruction of. Oh, good.
I've been saying we've been seeing little hints throughout the show that somebody is funding some crazy technology going on.
There's some super racist.
We're gonna get there. I think by the end of the show, with the season, we're gonna find out who's actually behind all these things. But yeah, it's not the Master Mold. But
so how many episodes is this?
Just 10.
10.
And we're on. We just did episode 5. Yeah.
Okay. When I hear this is the one thing about this show, and honestly, last night's episode opened my mind to a lot of different things. Because when you hear Omega level mutant, you like honestly, the first time I actually realized how badass the Omega level mutant was Iceman, when he almost brought the planet back to Ice Age, and I was like, holy shit! When I hear Omega level mutant, that means you are badass. Like you can fuck shit up. And Rogue is an Omega level mutant. Gambit's
not according to that Sentinel.
Well, not according to that Sentinel, but according to that Sentinel,
Magneto is
the only one there was Magneto. But Magneto is Omega. But the thing is that Rogue relatively has the power of any mutant out there, because she can take the power. she could take the power from anybody. So
Yeah,
which puts her on the scale.
But cartoon 90s Rogue doesn't go around jacking everybody's powers, okay?
Well,
Like that's
I'm just talking about the level of power she has. That's all. That's
Yeah.
all. Like
Let's stay
so,
on.
like, and technically, I believe Gambit. Anybody on like the golden, was it golden blue? Is that what it is? Gold team, blue team. I think that's what it is.
Beast ain't no Omega level mutant.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Beast is not. Well, his intellect.
Nightcrawler and Colossus are not Omega level. There's a lot that are not Omega. Okay, it's fine, but I know it's a badass thing, and we liked hearing it. It's cool. Like
it's just one of those things where when I saw
when they throw that word around, it doesn't disappoint so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
So exactly. when you saw Rogue going against that one Sentinel, I was just like, okay, she's gonna wreck shop. Because again, isn't she like strong as Hulk or something like that?
I don't think so. But the thing is, like, I think in the context of the show, you're supposed to be concerned when the Omega level mutant in the show, who is Magneto, who is the one guy who's immune to Rogue's powers that we've ever seen.
Yes.
You know, like this, when you see him get wiped off the board, you're supposed to feel that. And by the way, like when he looks down at Leech and in German says, don't be afraid. Oh man.
Here's the thing, though.
That so hard. I was like, that's what his parents said to him before they went in the gas chamber. Two
things in that situation. A, isn't Leech's powers basically like not like Rogue's, but he makes other mutants immune? Like just not immune, but
I think he has to actively do it. Like it's not like just being around Leech. Unlike that movie, that movie
that shitty ass movie.
Yeah.
And what was the second one? Was with Magneto dying, who is a popular, probably right now because Professor X is gone, he is basically the most popular next to Wolverine, the most popular character on that show. Now, I highly doubt that Disney's trying to pull a Game of Thrones.
Cyclops is my guy. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm talking about in the regular world. Let's talk about like normals.
What you're trying to say is, hey, as a reminder, this is a comic book show. There's a pretty good chance that Magneto's not dead.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way that Game of Thrones this whole thing. No way.
But here's the thing. Like we can always have things retconned later. We can find out that Magneto got teleported out, or we can find out
waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly. But like time travel exists in the X-Men universe. So there's nothing to say that we can't get a Gambit to come back later. You know what I mean? Or to come back later in the show. But I'm not trying to diminish what they can do later from what they did do yesterday. And what they did yesterday was blow my freaking mind. Like, yes, they did that. And I don't want to take that away from them. Like, we could speculate all day long where Magneto, what happened to Magneto, like what, he's not going to be dead, blah, blah, blah. But just know, I just want to talk about how we felt in that moment. And it was all the things. And
I felt like a kid again.
Yeah.
I felt like finally Disney did something that made me go like, they heard me. I felt that little kid inside of me just go like, this is what it feels like to be happy watching cartoons again. Yay.
That's awesome. And I'm happy for you. But I really do want to know before we wrap it up, like, Ricky, what did you feel like watching that?
I felt the weight because I think that just in the 4 episodes prior, they really do establish those characters well enough to do something like this. And also, they don't just die in some kind of gimmick or quick death. It's almost as if Magneto actively let himself die. Like, is that a weird way to phrase it? Like, you see him make that choice to sacrifice, and that's like a very powerful thing. Yeah. And same thing with Gambit. Gambit probably knew he was going to die in the situation, but did it anyways because he knew he could beat this thing by doing it.
I don't think he knew he was going to die that way, but I think he knew he was sacrificing himself. Yes.
I like the way Ricky did it because he knows that we got to wrap the show right now.
Yes, I know.
We gotta wrap it up.
I actually like what you had to say, but thank you, Joel, for joining us.
Yes. No, anytime. I'm as long as I have the time, I'm always here. I love talking about this stuff. This like, especially if it's some cool shit like that.
Wrap it, Ricky. Enough said.
Enough
Yes.
said.